Okay, so another book I read is A Man Called Avo by Frederick Backman. And I did like this book, but again, not one that I fell in love with. I feel like I tend to look for the ones I fall in love with. But if you're curious what my overall rating is for this book, it's a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Still a good rating. And I don't know, for me the reason why I didn't give it a higher rating itself was because I feel like the book could have been shorter. At least for me. Or maybe it's just not my type of book. Because I know that with the length of it, it does make you very, at least it made me very happy at the end. I enjoyed the last two chapters to see the main character feeling very happy and enjoying life and no longer dealing with the negative thoughts he had. I would say before you do read this book, do look up trigger warnings and do not read this if you are already feeling down or depressed. I would say don't hold off on it. Just don't read it. Yeah, because that I feel like that's one of the reasons why it really wasn't enjoyable for me. I think I do prefer like more lighthearted stuff. I don't know. We'll see. I'm still on my journey of figuring out what books I like. But, yeah. I mean, I feel like within a few chapters, I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. He's going through it. He's very depressed. And I don't know. I mean, it made me sad. And I mean, that's probably the point of it. But something interesting about it, though, was that even though, I mean, it does deal with, like, very heavy topics such as depression and trying to unalive oneself, I kind of felt like at moments, maybe because of like other characters within the book, it felt more lighthearted, which was probably needed. It felt a little bit like kind of a Hallmark or family feel-good type movie, which I thought was interesting that it was able to also like make that come across as well. And I'm curious to see if in the movie it feels like that or not. Also, if anybody has read this book, tell me if you felt that way or not, or if it's just me. I don't know. But speaking about the movie that I still have not watched, but when I do, I will insert a clip of my thoughts. In the book, it actually says, when Avo talks to the teenage boy, the narrator says if this were a movie, there would be time for a 360 pan around them. And when I watch the movie, I'm gonna see if that happens. So they do the whole 360 thing, which I think would be super cool if they did. But yeah, for this book, I do got my little notes here. And let me see. First, I'll see my overall thoughts about it. It's been a while since I read it. Some of my favorite moments, spoiler alert, if you haven't read the book or watched the movie, you've been warned. But one of my favorite moments is when Avo actually locks up the journalist in the shed because he doesn't want to give his story to her. And then he gets discovered by his neighbor, and the neighbor's like super panicked about it. Like, how could he do that? And the journalist doesn't even seem to mind. She just wants the story. And I don't know, it's just a really funny moment because of everybody's reaction, and it actually made me laugh, so I really like that part. Another part that I also liked is when, well, Avo's neighbor, she has 2 children, I believe, and she's pregnant with another, but she has 2 girls, and the youngest one, she sometimes does some drawings, and she apparently, you find out that she's all been drawing Avo for a while. And yeah, because the neighbor, she says, yeah, she always draws you, and that she draws you in color, everybody else in black and white. And I feel like that was just so sweet and cute, because it seems like the little girl sees something special in Avo, and like that he's one of her favorite people, and it's just so sweet. And like Avo doesn't know how to react. He's just, what do you mean always? It's a sweet moment that stuck out to me. Another moment that stuck out to me that wasn't so sweet, it was actually heartbreaking, and like I nearly cried, is actually when Sonia, Avo's wife finds out that she lost the baby that they were expecting, and it's very heartbreaking. You can feel the grief that they're both going through. Yeah, somebody closed the door super hard. That's what that was. But yeah, it was super sad. I feel like any scene like that, it always gets me. But let me see what else I have here. I also have quotes. So here's one quote. You miss the strangest things when you lose someone. Little things. Smiles, the way she turned over in her sleep, even repainting a room for her. And the reason why this quote stuck out to me is because when I was reading it, I had actually recently lost a family member, and I was going through grief myself, and just reading that quote, that line in the book, it really resonated with me, because what I was thinking about the person that I had lost, that I was going to miss the most, was like their laugh. Just not being able to even get like a life update on them or something. I don't know, that hit hard for me. But it was nice to read that part in the book, because it was what I was going through at the time. It was difficult and nice to see something that was relatable. Another quote that I also wrote down is, "This was a world where one became outdated before one's time was up." And I put that this part, when we think of fast fashion, overconsumption, and gaining quick fame from the internet, and shortly after becoming cancelled or irrelevant. I put, today's world, there isn't much that lasts. People quickly move on to the next thing. Yeah, that's another part that I had written down. And the other part, which I had already mentioned, was the whole 360 pan, which I'm gonna be on the lookout to see if that's in the movie. But that's my little talk about this book. But yeah, again, if anybody has read this, let me know what you think in the comments, and yeah, what your rating was for the book. So I read this book about 2 days ago, Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro, and I'm still thinking about it. I am very excited to revisit this book eventually in the future. I do think I will revisit it, and even more so excited to see the movie, probably pretty soon. I'm just excited. The thing I would say I'm most excited about to see within the movie, one of the characters, Tommy, in this book, he later on makes these works of art of animals, and the other character, Kathy, she describes it as in kind of, I believe that it looked kind of like metal, like a whole bunch of little details coming together to form the image of an animal. And to me, in my mind, it looked amazing, and I love animals and I love little details like that. So I'm very excited to see what it looks like in the movie. I'm like excited and nervous. I hope it's as cool as it looked in my mind. Yeah, but one thing that I did very much love about this book is the mystery that it holds. I feel like for me, it held throughout the whole book, because there was these rumors that would come up and you would find out a little bit of information, but then new rumors based off of that information would pop up again. So it's just kind of like a never-ending mystery. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, even maybe at the very end, there's still some questions that one might have. But for me, spoiler alert, just so you know, for me, it was not a happy ending. I feel like a lot of people would probably think that too. I could see the way that one would think that it was a happy ending. Because for me, that kind of goes into what the like message was. I was wondering that. I actually wrote it down, like my thoughts. Oh, look at this beautiful book, little journal that I got, Sleeping Beauty. I think it's gorgeous. And now I'm writing my reviews in here. But anyway, so I guess I'm just gonna read what I wrote. Okay, yeah, so my main question, a lot of people's main question is why didn't they run away together, try to escape, right? And I mean, the author himself, he speaks in an interview saying that he wasn't interested in telling that story. He said there's a lot of stories about people that try to, fight the system, and he didn't want to focus on those people. And those people are actually mentioned throughout the book. You see other, we're in spoiler alert zone anyway. So the other ones of the clones wanting to find a way out, but Kathy and Tommy, I mean, they do attempt it in a way, but they don't go fully all the way. I mean, once they find out that there is no way to make it, kind of pause time, get a referral, then they just accept it. And I mean, I know me, I don't think I would accept it, but who knows if I were in their position. But I think there's also like beauty in that, because I feel like maybe the message could be that within life, what matters most is the relationships that you form, the bonds. And like for Kathy, that would be her bond with Tommy and Ruth. And that kind of brings a feeling of contentment in your life. And even, the author within the interview, he says that this was his way of expressing that like mortality that we all have. But for the clones, I mean, it's an even shorter amount of time, because in the way they know when it's getting close, their end of their time in this life. And for people, I mean, it could be a random day, you never know, right? But I thought it was a very interesting way of expressing that mortality. And I mean, I love that message about like love, and relationships that you form in your life, the value that they have, because I know they hold a lot of value in my life. Another thing that was also very important in the book was the whole theme about art and the power that it holds. Like for the students, I held the power of hope. And for the normal people, I don't know if that's what you would call them, but the people that weren't clones, the teachers from Hailsham wanted to use that art to show people that these students had souls, try to influence them. And I mean, art in real life is subjective, and it can be interpreted in many different ways and used in many different forms. So I like that too. Yeah, this book is actually, it's a science fiction book and dystopian, but it doesn't really read that way. At least, like, when I picked it up, I had this on my TBR, and by the time I got to it, I totally forgot what it was about. I just opened it up, and it took me a while to realize this was like science fiction. I thought this was just going to be like kind of like a young adult novel or something like that, because it started off, she was in her 30s, that's what it starts off. Our main character, Kathy H. And she's 30, she's a carer, and starts to reflect on her times in Hailsham, which was a boarding school. And I was like, oh, this is going to be, maybe not so much a young adult novel, but I thought, it was going to for sure take a lot of time with like when they were kids or teenagers. And I just thought it was going to be about reconnecting with the people in your life. And that does very much occur in the book, but there is so much more to it with this different world than ours. And I mean, I don't want to give too much away, because I do very much love figuring out with the characters what their lives were created for, what they're meant to do. And I don't want to give too much away, but I would definitely recommend this book. I'd say please read it. I gave it a 3.2 out of 5 stars. And for me, I would say the reason why is probably because it did feel a bit like long. or slow paced. That's what it felt. I'd say slow paced, which isn't necessarily bad. Maybe not my preference, but I still enjoy it. I still appreciate it. But if you do like slow paced books, I'm pretty sure you would love this one. But even though it was slow paced and I could see that, I never really wanted to skip any pages or anything like that. It's like, I did consider it one moment, but then I kept reading, like read one line or two, and I was like, no, I should not skip anything. Don't jump ahead any sentences. Yeah, it's good. Let's see, do I have anything else written here? And in case you want to know what point I became officially invested in the book, I actually wrote it on my notes. It was on page 32 of this copy. And that's when I was like, oh, I'm here for it. I'm here for the ride with the whole... That's like when the first mystery came up about the gallery. I was like, ooh, what's the gallery about? And I'm very satisfied with the book, I would say. Check it out. And if you have read it or you've seen the movie, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Yeah, if you do comment down below, you know, put spoiler alert before anything if you are going to give any spoilers, just for anybody that might be reading the comments. I'm a person that loves to read the comments, so yeah. Alright, so I read the Heartstopper series by Alice Oseman, and these two are my favorite, the Volume 1 and Volume 2. These two are based off of, well, Season 1 of Heartstopper on Netflix is based off of these two. That's how I should be saying it. And I first watched the show. I absolutely loved it. And my friend ended up buying me this one, and then she slowly bought me all of them. So thank you. Because they were a delight to read. Even though I had already seen Season 1 and I knew what to expect, I was still smiling and like giggling reading it. And it was just a really good time. And I mean, there was like a few things that were not shown in Season 1 within the books. Specifically, the biggest detail, at least for me, is that Charlie has a little brother. They really should have included his little brother in Netflix because he was adorable, and there could have been like some funny little moments because there is a little funny moment in the book. And I will not spoil it. You should read it. Check it out. But if you're looking for like you know, queer romance and like a happy ending, this is the one to check out. Just a good time, love story. Pick it up, read it, do yourself a favor. And also now for the other two. Wait, well, before I go to those, I don't know if I already said or not, but the reason why these two were my favorite is because they're mostly like the talking stage, you know, when you're first getting to know someone and you're very excited and nervous because you're like, oh, do they like me back? And it's just like a whole bunch of emotions. And I don't know, it's really cute. Like a lot of like their little moments, I'm like, ooh, like I had experienced that in the past. And I really liked how, I don't know, it's been a while since I read them, but I remember in the watching Season 1 for me, like I was like, oh, it's kind of moving along quickly, like compared to what I was expecting it like to happen. But I don't want to give any spoilers if you haven't read it or seen it. But yeah, do comment below. Anyway, for the other two, here we go. I had to take them out. I was using them like as a stand for my camera. But here they are, because I love to show the physical copy if I have them. I love looking at them. In case you're like me, here they are. Volume 3 and Volume 4. These are really great too. I don't think I said. The first Volume 1 and Volume 2 I gave 5 out of 5 stars. If I already said it, well, here I am repeating it. And for Volume 3 and 4 I gave them 4 out of 5 stars. It might have been like 4 point something, but I don't remember. And I didn't write down my review for these. But these are still great. They're out in Paris. Pretty good time, and like there's other things that they have to like tackle and stuff. other things like in their lives. And yeah, I mean, even though I feel like for me these books are kind of like a happy place, just I feel like I can't get hurt in that world necessarily compared to other books I've read, but it does also tackle some serious topics, so I would say definitely look up trigger warnings. But the thing I can tell you is it does have a happy ending. I think that's a good spoiler to give. Yeah. But like I said, check them out. If you have checked them out, let me know what you think. And if you've seen the show, do you like season 1 or season 2 more? Yeah. Okay, in case you were curious about the illustrations inside or the layout of the book, I wanted to show you. Like, it's a very easy read and it is super cute. I love the illustrations and I love how Alice puts these little leaves all throughout the books. It's super cute. And I also wanted to elaborate on the reason why I said I feel like I wouldn't get hurt in this kind of world. And what I mean by that is I feel like seeing the relationship that Charlie and Nick have feels like a safe space, and I feel like that helps a lot. And also the way I expected some of these characters to react, they didn't react in a major negative way, which was very nice to see. I enjoyed that because it does tackle serious topics. But a lot of the other characters, you know, they're supportive, they're there for each other. And like one specific thing I'll say, a little spoiler in case you haven't seen, but one part that stuck out to me a lot when I first watched the show specifically was at the very end when Nick ended up coming out to his mom as bisexual, and she was supportive. She said, I'm something along the lines, I don't know if I'm quoting it exactly, but she said, I'm sorry if I ever made you feel like it wasn't safe for you to say so, which I thought was so sweet. I feel like that's the reaction a lot of people want and not everybody gets. So that was very refreshing and sweet. And yeah, these books hold a special little place in my heart. Alright, so another book I read a while ago, I honestly don't remember much about it, unfortunately, and I did not write notes. I regret that. But it was The Metamorphoses and Other Stories by Franz Kafka. And here's an image. I don't know how well it's translating on the screen, but there it is. I don't have it with me anymore because I borrowed it from my boyfriend and I never recorded a video after I read it. And I really don't remember much about it. But here on Goodreads, it says that I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And what I remember was that my favorite one from all of the short stories was The Metamorphoses, which is a very popular one. But yeah, it was my favorite, and I found it very sad. Very sad. I remember even the ending I found very sad because the way that the family just moved on. Well, that was a spoiler, wasn't it? Damn. Sorry about that. Maybe I put a little spoiler in the top. But, I mean, hey, that story has been out a while. I had time to check it out. But if anybody has read it, comment down below. If you've read his other stories too, tell me which one your favorite is, not his favorite. Yeah, because I know The Metamorphosis and The Trial are his most popular ones. But yeah, for The Metamorphosis, I mean, yeah, it is sad and honestly relatable. Relatable that, at least for me, which is sad that it's relatable. But when he became a cockroach, his first thing was like, I gotta get to work. And I think around the time when I was reading that, like I was sitting eating at the kitchen table and my elbow got like stuck on the chair, and because yeah, I don't know how to describe this chair. It's a wooden chair, has gaps, and I let my arm slip in there, and then if like couldn't take it out, I think I had to come, I went home during my lunch break because where I was working that day was super close to my house. So I was like, I'm gonna go eat at my house. And it got stuck and I was panicking instantly. I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna get to work? Oh no. And then that's when I had the moment of realization that I was just like that character. Yeah, so I can relate, unfortunately. But yeah, I wish I knew. I should remember more. I need to revisit this story because it's been a while. But yes, Franz Kafka books, people say, are very strange, very absurd. And yeah, I could see that. Yeah. And honestly sad too. Yeah, good amount of them were sad. Were all of them sad? I don't know. I remember 3 of them being sad. But I would say, yeah, definitely check it out. You know, form your own opinion about it because I don't remember much about it anyway. Unfortunately, I am not good at keeping all the details in my mind if I don't write them down. I don't know why. And I'm sorry if that clap hurt your ears, especially if anybody for some reason is wearing, not for some reason, it's very common too. I even do it, wearing AirPods, earphones, any of that. Anyway, I'm just rambling now. We should move on to the next one. I just wanted to include it here because I read it. But I am working on filming the books, the review about the books, right after I read them. You know, either that day or like within 1 to 3 days. I did that with Never Let Me Go. And let's hope I keep doing it. I hope I keep doing it for my own sake. Alright. Okay, another book that I absolutely loved and I want to purchase and I plan on reading. Yeah, I don't have the physical copy. Borrowed it from a friend. But it's All About Love by Bell Hooks. Check it out. That's all I gotta say. I'm just kidding. There's more. I do wish I remembered more about it, but I know I need to revisit it because I don't remember much about it, and I just know that I loved it, and when I finished reading it, I was like, oh my God, everybody should read this book at least once. That is something I said. And also, the whole reason why, well, at least in the book, this is what Bell Hooks says. She says that the reason why she wrote this book was because she realized that a lot of people did not believe in love. And she wanted to prove them that it does exist and it is needed. And yeah, I feel like the whole reason why a lot of people don't really believe in it is because it's something that's hard to understand, put words to, and I myself have struggled with that. And I feel like seeing the way that love is portrayed in movies and stuff, like it's like very magical thing, and it's just like a moment that you know, right? Like you've heard people ask, like, oh, how do you know when you're in love? And I say, just know. Well, what does that mean, right? And I feel like this book just gave me a more clear idea on it, and it made me feel comfortable to say that I love my boyfriend. So it helped me out. It also helped me feeling like, I don't know, gave me this calmness on life and myself for some reason. Made me feel like I can do anything. I trust myself. For anything that life throws at me, I can handle it. Yeah? I need to revisit this book. But I did write notes. And I will read you a little bit of it. Not all of it, because it's quite a bit. Oh, and I didn't say what I rated it, huh? I wrote it here, I think. It's like a 4 point something. Yeah, 4.7. Almost a 5. Check it out. Yeah. And I mean, if you're curious why I didn't give it a 5, at least from what I remember, it was that because Bell Hooks, I believe she very much focused on maybe because a little bit of religion is mentioned. I think maybe it was Christianity. I think so. And I don't know, I feel like it would have been more interesting to kind of, you know, explore other religions as well in the book. But I totally get it, you know, if like that was just the focus of the book, that's totally fine too. But I guess I don't know, it was personal preference. But I wrote, I don't remember all of like the religious parts, but I wrote in my notes, my review, I wrote, the religious sections felt like a hit or miss, but I did not mind them. And that was all I wrote about them. So sorry I cannot give you more intel about that. Oh, I thought this was almost sweet. This is the most precious gift true love offers, the experience of knowing we always belong. Yeah, sounds nice. And okay, yeah. This part where it talks about abusive relationships, and something that I have also seen within my life from somebody else I knew that had experienced this. They had mentioned something similar, and it was nice to see this in text. So I said, when it became destructive, I found it difficult to leave. I found myself accepting behavior, verbal and physical abuse, that I would not have tolerated in a friendship. Yeah, I feel like that's a very important thing to take into mind when in a relationship. Don't accept behavior you wouldn't accept from any other person. Don't tolerate it. Don't accept it. And yeah, that's like a good way to see it, you know? Yeah. I also recently saw somebody else online talking about like abusive or toxic relationships, that they said to not, oh wait, if you would take it as a compliment if somebody else told you that you were like your partner, the person you're dating. No, that's an important thing to take into consideration as well. And also the whole friendship thing. Definitely. Let's see. Was there any other ones I wanted to... Anyway, there's a lot of different topics. Like, yeah, it talks about love. It talks about love also within, like, romantic love. Talks about also, I think, friendships as well. And it talks about, you know, your own internal love that you have for yourself. It does touch on all of those topics. And it also talks about, like, death, which I like those bits, where it tells you to, like, remember to just stay in the present, and because it's the only attainable thing you really have. You're not gonna go to the past and you cannot jump into the future. And also to remember that, you know, we're not permanent, so do what you gotta do now. If you feel something, do it. Say it. Like, I love you. Yeah, the book might not say it exactly like that. That's just what I remember. But it does tackle a lot of different topics. And I feel like everybody could get something out of it. Like, some of it might seem like, oh yeah, like, of course I knew that or had thought about that. But I don't know. For me, it's just nice to, like, go over it again and read it in text. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like everybody could get something out of this book. I know I did. Yeah, I don't know. If you've read this book, tell me. You know the drill. Comment down below. If you are looking for a funny play to read, look no further. Goodbye, Charles by Gabriel Davis. I've read this play twice, and you would really think I would remember more about it. Again, if I don't write it, this happens. But what I do remember is that the main character, Jill, is freaking out because she cannot find her husband, Charlie, because he disappeared after she refused to sign the divorce papers. And there's this whole little monologue about her saying that she ate the divorce papers. She ate them with ketchup. If you haven't seen it, look it up. Or read it, better yet. And also from what I remember, I really do want to see this performed. Yeah, I would love to. I haven't found a recording of like the whole play being performed. But I would love to see it live. One day I know they're doing it somewhere. I plan on checking it out for sure. But yeah, it's really funny. And from what I remember is that her and her friend like meet up and yeah, they're basically telling each other what's going on, giving all the gossip. Yeah, because also her friend, she's going through it too with like the person she's with, her partner. Yeah, it's funny. It's a good time. A little bit of a mystery. Check it out. Yeah. And did I say what I gave it? I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And I plan on reading it again. I own the copy. Honestly, why did I show you a picture? Why did I show you a picture? Okay, I'm gonna find this copy and just show it to you. Here it is. I found it. And yeah, here's my little copy. It's a very quick read and honestly just really funny. It's like, from what I remember, it just goes from one funny scenario to the next. I hope I'm remembering that correctly, because if that's not the case, y'all gonna think I have some twisted kind of humor. But no, I'm pretty sure it is funny. It's a comedy, that's for certain. But yes, do check it out. That's another one. I'm like, just check that out for a fun time. Check that out. Let me know what you think about it. This one, Fortunately the Milk by Neil Gaiman and illustrated by Chris Riddle. And yes, I love the illustrations. I want to show you one of my favorites, which might be a little bit of a spoiler, but not too much because it is on page 16 and 17, okay? So, you've been warned. Spoiler alert. This is my favorite. Just all the little details of the UFO. I just find it super cool and beautiful. There are other fun ones to look at, but I don't want to spoil all of it. But yeah, this book was super fun to read, and I feel like I would have loved it more so as a kid, but still a joy. I would give it a 3 out of 5. It was entertaining, a very easy read, because I think it's like probably at a 3rd grade level reading. But it was nice to read this after reading a very serious book. This is very lighthearted and a really fun adventure. Something that felt like kind of like a bedtime story, something that you would read to your kids. But let me know if any of you have read this book before, and if you read this as a kid, also what were your thoughts about it. I'm not sure if I did really tell you what this book is about, and if you want to know, it's basically a dad left alone with 2 kids, mom's off at work, and kids have run out of milk for their cereal, so dad is going to the rescue, gonna go get some milk, not because he wants it for his tea, but for the kids. And he goes on a crazy adventure trying to get this milk. He comes back home and the kids are, "What took you so long?" And he tells them the most incredible story about somebody trying to get milk. At least the most incredible story I've ever heard of somebody trying to get milk. And who would I recommend this book to? I would say recommend it to children, because I feel like it is very much a children's book and a very fun one. Or I would also recommend it to anybody that has been in a reading slump. I feel like this would be like an easy one to read, and I thought it was fun. And I mean, I love illustrations. I love looking at the pictures. And so, or you just want to kind of relive your childhood in a way, I would recommend to those people. But yeah, once again, let me know what you think about this book, if you've ever read it or if you're interested in reading it now. So my final review of a book for this video is, drumroll, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, the animated story by Charlie Mackesy. Kessie? Yeah. Yeah. Here's a little picture of the version I read. I went into the bookstore, Barnes & Noble, and I believe they had 50% off hardcover books. And I was determined to buy this book because I was like, I've been wanting to read it. And they didn't have it. They only had the animated version because this is when the short just came out. So I ended up reading it at the store. I didn't buy it. Yeah. Probably should have bought it. It was really beautiful. But I want the original copy, not the animated version. Even though they're both really cool. And I'm curious if the original one is any different than the animated one. I have no idea. But I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe 4 point something, but I don't remember. Goodreads doesn't let you put like point something. And if it does, I haven't figured out how to do it. But I did take pictures of certain quotes that I really like from this book. Yeah, this book is beautiful. It's like a warm hug. And it made me cry. I cried in the bookstore while reading this. In the kids section. Yeah. Because my nephew was like reading other books and I was sitting there reading this one, crying. Yeah. I do plan on owning this book eventually. But here are some quotes that I like. Okay. I think you believe in me more than I do, said the boy. You'll catch up. Cute. Inspirational. Must be neat. Yeah, that's a little picture. The horse and the boy right there. And here's another one I really liked. To be honest, I often feel I have nothing interesting to say, said the fox. Being honest is always interesting, said the horse. Cute. And this one. Asking for help isn't giving up, said the horse. It's refusing to give up. Yeah, there's a lot of sweet little moments. And I remember looking through Goodreads, the reviews, like briefly, and somebody gave it a low rating and I was like, this is like Winnie the Pooh for adults. It's like, and Winnie the Pooh is amazing. Where is the problem? I don't see it. If you haven't read it, read it. It's a classic and it's a great time. You might cry. Warning. But they're going to be happy tears. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you maybe got some books that you're going to add to your TBR if you haven't read these. Yeah. You know, comment down below. Let me know any books you want to recommend to me. I love adding books to my TBR. Anyway, have a great day. Or great night. Whatever. Or both. Oh, why not? Alright, thanks for watching, and yeah, see you in the next video.